Greetings, UUSS, both far and near. Join in body or spirit, singing for the beauty of the earth.
Good morning, and welcome to our Sunday service. Whether you're here, I can hear myself on Zoom. So I know you're here on Zoom because I just heard myself on Zoom. So we're glad you're here too, and we're glad you're here in the room. Happy Mother's Day. I am Roger Jones, happy to serve as one of the co-ministers here, along with the Reverend Lucy Bunch. The theme of our circle service today is the miracle of ordinary objects. We are grateful for the support of our worship associates and other volunteers in the service, and our musicians, Anthony and Irina, along with Mary Blanchette on violin. The mission of this congregation says, we come together to deepen our lives and be a force for healing in the world. And we invite you to find out the ways and explore them, the ways that we live that out. If you're new to UUSS, please fill out a newcomer's card, either using the card at the welcome table or the link on our website. After the service, that will enable us to connect with you and send you our weekly message by email every Friday. The blue sheet includes upcoming activities with a calendar for the coming week. And here are just a few highlights. After the service today is our monthly newcomers orientation with a tour of the campus. It will start 10 or 15 minutes after the end of the service, and you can meet your guide at the greeters table in the welcome hall, and it lasts about an hour, and kids are welcome. Today's guide is Reverend Lucy, which means there will be a quiz. And if you would like to buy the answers to the quiz, I have them. And today also, the young adult group is having its monthly meet and greet. Look for their table on the patio. And the UU the Vote table is on the patio. And UU the Vote leaders hope to distribute all the remaining postcards today for the voters in Virginia. So stop by. You will see in the blue sheet and the weekly message, a message from our Justice and Equity team about an important survey that you are asked to complete in order to take the pulse of our community. A link to the survey will come out later today in an email to everyone on our list. And it's in the insert. There's a QR code in the insert so you can find it. Thank you. And very big news about next Sunday. It's our congregational meeting. And it's right after the service. Everybody is welcome to attend, but we need a quorum of voting members to approve the budget. We will also vote on lay leaders whose pictures and statements you can see on posters in the welcome hall. So grab your coffee and then join us in person or on Zoom for the meeting. There are a number of programs coming up in adult enrichment, and I have 3 to tell you about. On a Friday evening and Saturday morning this month, Doug Kraft will have a dialogue called Beyond the Deep Edge of Meditation with his fellow teacher, Delson Armstrong. And there's Doug right there. Number 2, I will start a Tuesday night Bible study about Jesus in the Gospels next week. And 3, this Tuesday night is our second Tuesday forum, and I will be hosting a talk by a friend who's a professor at the University of Minnesota. And the topic is the prevalence of apocalyptic theology in foreign diplomacy. And I have an advisory for you and me, because I'm worried that some of what we learned from him on Tuesday night will make it hard to sleep, at least for me. So it's at 7 p.m. in the library bookstore and on Zoom. You can learn about all these things at the Sunday Connections table today during coffee time. If you're attending by Zoom today, we have a breakout room for you to get acquainted, and that will last about 22 minutes after the service, so meet one another. So now, to avoid any distractions, please turn off your cell phones, smartwatches, burglar alarms, smoke detectors, leaf blowers, all of them off, please. And as you do this, I want to let you know that this is our monthly service when all ages are together for the service. It's next Sunday when we will have religious education for kids, and our youth groups will be meeting. And so if you need to move around in the sanctuary to hear or see better, please feel free. And if a family needs to leave the room, you can listen to the service on the patio or watch it in the on the flat screen TV in the welcome hall. So feel free to move as your needs indicate. You can read about all the participants in the service and the music in the service today in the order of service. And if you're with us online, you can click the link in the chat to find it there, or you can find it on the website. And now let's receive the music for centering.
This morning, Aveline will be our chalice lighter, with the Reverend Dr. Roger Jones assisting. In Unitarian Universalist congregations, we begin our services and small group meetings with the ritual of lighting a flame within a vessel crafted in the form of a chalice. Please join me in this ritual now by responding with the words in bold. On this new day, we gather as people of all ages, from all stages of life, with needs and gifts, concerns and hopes.
From near and far, in person and online, we gather as one community.
We kindle this flame, the symbol of warmth, of insight, of commitment.
May it light our way to embrace community and shape the future.
We gather on this day, one set aside to honor mothers and motherhood.
Let us give thanks for all the people who provide support, encouragement, and care for others.
This morning, we will celebrate everyday life and ordinary objects, which bless us with wonder, ease, joy, and help.
May we show gratitude for all the blessings of ordinary life.
We seek to be loyal stewards of all gifts. Now, let us find common purpose in reciting together the words of the stated mission of this congregation. We come together to deepen our lives and be a force for healing in the world.
It has been our tradition on Sundays to light a candle of compassion and resistance. In these times of disruption and anxiety, when cruelty is on display in our country, this flame is a reminder to bear witness to human decency, dignity, and freedom. By this light, let us remember that fear is outworked by hope, and that hatred is no match for the power of love. In the days to come, may this flame light our way forward with courage and with hope. Blessed be. Good morning, everyone. One of the ways that we connect, build strength, weave the fabric of our community is by sharing our joys and sorrows with each other on Sunday mornings. This morning, some of you have posted joys and sorrows on the online form that you can find a link to in our weekly message, or you can call the office and they will pass it on to us. Jen Dadek, and I'm sure the Dadek family altogether, are sharing that they celebrated 2 birthdays. Gray, our youngest, is now 16. This is from Jen. And my dad, Leon, celebrated his 76th. Bonus joy, our child Gwen was accepted at UC Davis for the fall quarter. Congratulations to the Dadek family. Jeff Richmond is sharing with us that his mother passed away this last Tuesday of dementia. He tells us that he and his sister have taken care of her for 3 years, and that's one of the reasons why he's not been able to be at church very often. So we send our love to Jeff and his family and look forward to seeing him here in our community. And also this morning, we send our gratitude, love, and prayers for comfort to Doris Simonis, who has entered hospice care following a series of setbacks and hospitalizations. Doris has been a faithful member of the pastoral visitors team, the bookstore, and so many other parts of church life since she and her husband Ed joined us in 2002. Let's all take a deep breath together and let it out with a sigh. And one more for good measure. Let's settle into our chairs, feel our feet on the ground, feel our breath coming in and out, and open our hearts to a special prayer for Mother's Day that was inspired by the words of Evan Carville Zemer. Holy Spirit of life, on this day to honor mothers, help us step away from the worries of what is the right gift and instead listen to and honor the deeper voices of our own knowing. Help us to center ourselves in love and connection. Today, let us honor the ways we have each been nurtured and mothered by mothers who gave birth to us, by the parents who raised us, by those many others who have supported and nurtured us. Let us honor all those who have made this beautiful world possible for us, who have given birth in practical, physical, and spiritual ways to bring forth life. Let us bring our care to those who are doing the hard work of nurturing, striving to meet not only the physical needs, but the many deep and complicated emotional and spiritual needs of raising children in this world. Spirit of life, nurture and sustain them as they do this complicated work. We ask you, Spirit of love, to help us remember and honor those who fill in for missing mothers, fathers, grandparents, foster parents, aunts and uncles, so many more. On this day to honor mothers, help us to bring healing and support to those who have lost children through miscarriage, stillbirth, death, and to those who long for children and for whatever reason are not able to have them in this world. And also to those who cannot be in touch with their children today. Let us honor the grief of those who mourn for their parents, whether separated by death, dementia, or disconnection. And let us extend our love and care to those who have survived damaging and traumatic mothering. We know this day can be a challenge. We ask you, Great Spirit, to help them to heal. Let us remember that not every mother is ready for her children. Today, with both the joy and the sorrow of life, let us be grateful for life, for the chance to love, for those who love us, and for the opportunity to nurture the future. May it be so. Amen. And let us take a moment for silent reflection for all the prayers in our own hearts. Blessed be.
Our Soul Matters theme for this month of May is imagination. And in that spirit, our service today is a celebration of everyday life, especially the inspiration we get from physical objects in our lives. On Terrie Taylor's altar, you can see a variety of objects around the themes of kitchen and office. And you're welcome to visit after the service, but don't take anything. I will start with a reading from a book of poems by Brian Doyle entitled A Book of Uncommon Prayer, 100 Celebrations of the Miracle and Muddle of the Ordinary. Doyle lived in Oregon and died in 2017 at age 61. He was a husband and father and a lifelong Roman Catholic. Each of his poems is written as a prayer, and Doyle speaks to God as inventor, designer, light, and inspiration. This poem is entitled Prayer of Thanks for Suntan Lotion. Prayer of thanks for suntan lotion, which smells good, which smells like relaxed, which smells like giggling children in peculiar and hilarious bathing suits, which smells like not working, which evokes summer, which smacks of the beach and sand and gulls and terns and salt air and beer, which comes in bright, colorful containers, which sometimes needs to be lovingly ladled on the backs of lovely spouses and children, a moment that always gives me the happy willies, which never actually expires, but can be used 11 years later after you find a nearly dry container in the very back of the medicine cabinet, which finally, just by the faint scent of it, reminds me most powerfully and movingly of my children. So, thank you, light. And so, amen.
Good morning. I am Andy Cramer, one of your worship associates, and happy Mother's Day. My mother's name was Rita. She passed away 20 years ago. If she was still with us today, she'd be 100 years old now. In the spirit of Mother's Day, and along today's theme of ordinary objects, I offer you this brief reflection and a reading. As a young child, I remember my mother wearing rubber-sole shoes. She expressed often how comfortable the shoes were. Maybe that was unusual at that time for a woman to wear comfortable shoes. More particularly, I remember the squeaking sound as she walked over the linoleum floors in our home and did the endless chores of a family of 8. Even if I couldn't see her, I heard her walking. I associate that sound with the comfort of knowing as a young child that her presence was near. I don't have many fond childhood memories, but this one remains. Our reading is a poem by Billy Collins, a former U.S. Poet Laureate. It's entitled The Lanyard. The other day, I was ricocheting slowly off the blue walls of this room, moving as if underwater from typewriter to piano, from bookshelf to an envelope lying on the floor, when I found myself in the L section of the dictionary, where my eyes fell upon the word lanyard. No cookie nibbled by a French novelist could send one into the past more suddenly. A past where I sat at a workbench at a camp by a deep Adirondack lake, learning how to braid long, thin plastic strips into a lanyard, a gift for my mother. I had never seen anyone use a lanyard or wear one if that's what you did with them. But that did not keep me from crossing strand over strand again and again until I had made a boxy red and white lanyard for my mother. She gave me life and milk from her breasts, and I gave her a lanyard. She nursed me in many a sick room, lifted spoons of medicine to my lips, laid cold face cloths on my forehead, and then led me out into the airy light, and taught me to walk and swim, and I, in turn, presented her with a lanyard. Here are 1,000 meals, she said, and here is clothing and a good education. And here is your lanyard, I replied, which I made with a little help from a counselor. Here is a breathing body and a beating heart, strong legs, bones, and teeth, and 2 clear eyes to read the world, she whispered. And here, I said, is a lanyard I made at camp. And here, I wish to say to her now, is a smaller gift, not the worn truth, that you can never repay your mother, but the rueful admission that when she took the 2-tone lanyard from my hand, I was as sure as a boy could be that this useless, worthless thing I wove out of boredom would be enough to make us even.
A number of our members replied to Reverend Rogers' question in the weekly message about everyday objects that you wish to celebrate. Here are a few responses. Michelle writes, I love Band-Aids, also known as adhesive bandages. Cracked fingers in the wintertime, cuts and bruises. When my late husband was taking pounds of the blood thinner Coumadin, Band-Aids were a must. Simple, sticky little nurses right there in the nick of time. Tiki writes, I am occasionally struck by how grateful I am for novelists. I can't imagine not having amazing books, great stories, well written in my life. It is beyond my wildest comprehension how anyone writes a book, especially a novel, but I am so grateful there are people who do it and do it well. Chuck says that he appreciates all of these. Light switches, such as those on lamps, walls, and flashlights, garage door openers, fans, portable drills, printers, mixers, headlights, alarm clocks, TV remotes, and doorbells. Jim writes about shoes. He says, I find I often have feelings of thankfulness when I put on and take off my shoes, especially if those shoes have reached the end of their useful life with me. Where all have I walked in these shoes? What have I experienced while wearing them? Where will they take me next? Blessed be.
Of the ordinary, please join in singing Spirit of Life, Fuente de Amor.
Blow in the wind. Hello, my name's Jen Campbell. I'm not sure Reverend Roger realized that my poem isn't really about a garlic press when he asked me to read my poem today, but it is of today's theme of the ordinary everyday, a person in their dreams. How often is the authentic core of a person and their dreams overlooked in favor of their usefulness to another person, institution, or ideology? My poem is about anyone who's ever felt they were being made to conform to something other than their truest self and their own wildest dreams. Specifically, it's about my experience with the expectations of womanhood by a high-demand religious group I'm no longer a part of. I wrote this poem at the UU Women's Retreat in February at a writing workshop led by UU member Anara Gard and her sister. Awe of writing, another often overlooked and undervalued ordinary thing. We were told to choose an object that spoke to us from an array of items spread out on the table before us. We were asked to write from the point of view of that item, or as if we were that item. My poem is called Garlic Press Manifesto. I am the garlic press, and the manifesto is mine. Maybe it is yours too. You tell me I was made for one glorious purpose, and I really have a problem with that. What if I don't want to be held in your hand to be useful to you for your impulses? What if I want to go my own way? Well, that's too bad, you say, because you've given me no legs with which to run away. If I want ever to leave you, I'll have to build my own legs or make myself become hot in your hands until you are burned, and you'll have no other choice but to drop me. I don't want a repetitive life, that's for sure. I also don't want to be locked away in the dark when you don't need me. I want to serve many purposes, and I want those purposes to be all my own. I don't want to press and squeeze and constantly be emptied of my substance. I want to be full and keep what is my own. To your dismay, I love myself, trust myself. Despite my heart heavy from your constant manipulation, the rest of me is surprisingly light and strong. Maybe with my lightness, I can fly away, and maybe with my strength, I can endure the journey. Thank you.
My name is Crystal Fountain, and I am, thank you. I'm the Religious Education Coordinator here at UUSS. Today I'd like to share with you a story about a gift I received once as a small child, an old purse filled with foreign coins. They weren't rare or valuable, but they were full of interesting pictures and inscriptions in foreign languages. I remember pouring them out and sorting them into piles by country: Great Britain, Canada, Colombia, China, Belgium. Some I couldn't read. It was a pocket-sized world tour for an 8-year-old. I love to think about all the places that these coins might have been. Imagining all of these foreign places represented on the coins probably contributed to my yearnings to travel as I grew up. And as I started college, I intended to be an international studies major. But I took a variety of courses just in case. When sophomore year came around and I needed to make my major official, I decided that the art history department was where I really belonged. It wasn't just a major for me, it was putting a name to the way that I think. Art history has driven me to travel, learn languages, and to learn more about wonderful works of art. It's also been an invitation to learn more about everyday things, even coins. I've come to understand that every item in our lives has 1,000 stories. That sounds like a reference to a family heirloom passed down through the generations, which sometimes we do have. But when I really look at something ordinary, I see the extraordinary evolution of its materials, design, cultural and historical references, and even its commercial marketing. I think about its cost in dollars and also in human effort and carbon emissions. I see its end of life and its afterlife, whether it is in recycling, landfill, or compost. No item is just an item. Each one contains the story of humanity. Seeing these layers makes it a little harder to get rid of things, but it has also made me a mender, a repurposer, and a thrifter who has a reverence for the well-made, the classic, and the durable. It has driven me to make art from everyday life and to see the beauty in the ordinary. And I've passed this on to my own children, and they have my old coins too.
If there's any children, youth, or adults who want to help with the offering, you can go to the back and get connected with one of the ushers. I want to remind us this morning that generosity is a spiritual practice. And one of the ways that our congregation lives out our values is by giving away half of every Sunday's offering to an organization that is working to make a difference in the world. For May, our community partner is the Sacramento chapter of the National Alliance on Mental Illness, the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization. NAMI, as it's called, is dedicated to building better lives for millions of America. What started as a small group of families gathered around a kitchen table in 1979 has blossomed into the nation's leading voice on mental health. Our local NAMI chapter is one of more than 600 local affiliates working to raise awareness and provide support and education. Members of UUSS are active in this local chapter. And Fred, are we having that May 25th event after church? So after church on May 25th, you can learn more about NAMI and their services. One of our members will be offering a presentation on that day. So mark your calendars. Thank you for your generosity to UUSS and our community partner. This morning's offering will now be given and received. As the ushers bring forward our offering, please join me in our unison response. May generosity bless our world, and may gratitude nourish our spirits.
Located in rural northeastern Vermont, on Dry Pond Road, outside the village of Glover, is the Museum of Everyday Life. It is housed in a big old barn of weathered wooden siding. You park your car on a gravel drive, get out, pull open the barn door, and turn on the light switch. It is a self-guided museum. There is a box for cash donations, as well as a QR code for giving by Cash App or Venmo. It is on the honor system. The museum is a few hundred feet from the farmhouse of Claire Dolan, who established it. She's an artist and writer, a registered nurse, and based on my visit there last July, a gardener of vegetables, fruits, and flowers. Dolan is a former member of Bread and Puppet Theater, a radical arts collective in that rural area. The museum is participatory. Visitors are invited to write comments or actually leave their stories related to the topic of each exhibit, some of which are permanent exhibits. One temporary exhibit a few years ago was entitled Toothbrush, From Twig to Bristle in All Its Expedient Beauty. The museum aims for its exhibits to evoke the mysterious delight embedded in the beloved objects we touch every day. Of course, much of the interest comes not from the objects themselves, but from the stories behind the objects or the stories that they remind us of. And as we heard from Jennifer, beyond their practical purpose, objects can symbolize aspects of our lives. They can inspire us to contemplation and creativity. Another exhibit included a visual history of the safety pin, with safety pins from around the world. We can learn there that in the United States, a mechanical engineer named Walter Hunt invented the safety pin in 1849. He also invented the sewing machine, among other items. In fact, while visiting New York City to promote his inventions once, Hunt invented the gong used in trolley cars to warn people. Walter Hunt sold his invention patents early to companies, so they got rich from his inventions, but he did not. On this slide is an example of an old landline telephone. It has a rotary dial and a handset connected by a curly phone cord. After decades of being sold in basic black, phones came out in a variety of colors beginning in the 1950s. This made them into decorative items for your house. When I was growing up, many households had only one phone. It might have been sitting on a table in the hallway by the front door. This meant that wherever you were in the house, you had to get up to answer it. Ring, ring, Jones residence, Roger speaking. This picture up here is a phone mounted on a wall in a kitchen, which made the kitchen the hub of communications in a household. Once as a boy, I was in the kitchen of my Aunt Mary and Uncle Roger's house when their adult son, Greg, made a long-distance call to them. He was in the Navy in Southeast Asia. Long-distance calls were expensive and often brief because of that. We crowded around the phone and took turns talking to Greg, each of us with just enough time to say, "Hi, how are you?" "I'm fine." "Okay, here's Carolyn. Love you." These days, thanks to the mobile phone, the cell phone, few of us are tethered to one spot. We can talk anywhere. We can see who's calling before we answer. We can even see one another on the screen of the cell phone. I wonder what stories we will tell about this everyday object a few decades from now. Since the mid-20th century, I think the mass production of cheap, disposable goods has lured us and led us to take for granted the objects that make up our everyday lives. After all, if we can throw it out and replace it easily, why bother appreciating it? But if we pause and recognize one of the everyday objects we use and even depend on, we might breathe a sigh of appreciation for its presence in our life. This is a dessert plate manufactured by the Pfaltzgraff Company. Its design features a floral pattern in blue in an off-white background. It's from the Yorktown series of that company, which they introduced in 1967, and it's still being sold. In my 20s, when I got my first apartment, my mother decided to buy one for me, but to buy for me several place settings of this design: dinner plates, dessert plates, bowls, coffee cups, and saucers, plus a serving bowl and a platter. She got my sister-in-law to take her to buy them at a beloved Indiana department store up the highway from us. The store was part of a chain that no longer exists. This plate feels cool and weighty, but in spite of its sturdiness, all that remains of my place settings are this plate and a saucer and this coffee cup with the handle broken off. All the other pieces have broken over the past 40 years. Bowls, dinner plates, cups, one by one, dropped, cracked, broken. I kept the packing boxes that the dishes came in, and I repacked them every time I moved from apartment to apartment over the decades. But they didn't break during moves. They broke from being used. Since then, of course, I bought mugs and pottery and plates from other places and other designs, things which have appealed to my tastes. So I have no desire to replace the Yorktown dishes. Yet sometimes this coffee cup with the broken handle is the perfect size for the small amount of ice cream I want to eat. And sometimes this plate is just the right size for a piece of toast. And if I'm not in a rush and I'm paying attention, every time I use this plate, it causes me to think of my mother. I think of her generosity. I also think of her certainty that she knew how a young man should take up housekeeping and what he should own for that. And in spite of her controlling nature, I think sometimes she was right. Ordinary objects can be a connection between the past, present, and future. As we heard in the reflection by Crystal, they can connect us to people around the world, people we will never meet, yet people on whom we depend and who depend on us. This interconnection, this interdependence, I call it an ordinary miracle of being human. As we go through our days, let us take the time to notice and to perceive these connections, to reflect and wonder about them, and to give thanks. So may it be. Blessed be, and amen. Next, we invite you to do such a reflection using the format that you will find on the insert in your order of service. And if you're on Zoom, we invite you to type your appreciation of an object in the chat, and you can find the format if you click on the order of service link for that document. So you will need a pencil or pen, which is an ordinary object that a neighbor might lend you, or a greeter can bring to you if you raise your hand. And if you're online, I hope you have one handy. So we're going to be using the format of a cinquain. We're going to write a short poem about an object that you appreciate, or one that connects you to a memorable story that you can tell in just a few short lines. And as you can see in the format, or if you're not able to see it, I'll tell you what the format is. It's 5 lines long, and the first line is a single word. The second line, 2 descriptive words. Third line, 3 action words, also known as verbs. And the fourth line, a 4-word phrase or sentence, 4 words. And at the end, another single word. So you can see my example there. It's, the first word is lawnmower. So you may write 1 or more cinquains during the next 3 minutes, or you can just enjoy listening to the music, which Irina will provide. And then after that, we will invite a few of you to read aloud what you have written. Let's begin. Please feel free, 10 people, to line up over here and read what you've written. And then if somebody has something to read, but you're not able to come up, or it would be difficult, Andy is our roving host.
I've never been up here. Bicycle, handed down, new. Pedaling, coasting, flying. My first road trips, freedom.
Teapot, black gold. Brew, pour, enjoy. Cherishing the memory of Mom. A connection.
This is from Joan. Ball, orange yarn, soft finger spin, dreams, hopes coming together, gifts.
Egg beater, obsolete, unused, resting, hiding, awaiting to be a toddler boy's favorite toy. Mother.
Trowel, sturdy, sharp, digging, loosening, uprooting. I plant and weed, creation.
Bicycle. Foldable, bright green. Flying, coasting, climbing. Waiting to be repaired. Anticipation.
Ironing board, smooth, flat, pressing, de-wrinkling, heating. Thinking of my grandmother, done.
Motorcycle. Small, cute. Pulling, hesitating, pulling. Wind on my face. Home.
Paring knife, forever sharp, serrated, slices, beautiful red-handled tool, useful.
Ted and I shared the page. Spatula, sunny side up, flipping, scraping, lifting. The kitchen is ours. Conquest.
This is from my Julia. Box cutter, sharp, cold, cutting, slicing, opening. What surprise awaits within? Joy.
This is Jeff's. Shoelace, grip, twist, cross, loop, pull. My mother taught me confidence.
Wringer washer, efficient, low carbon. Exercise, cleaning, exercise. My grandma Retta's favorite tool. Afghans, maybe?
Dodge, 1942 Club Coupe. Driving, dating, sharing. At 16, first car, freedom.
A glass of wine, red, smelling of grape. I smell, taste, swallow. Delicious, I would like another.
Anybody need Andy to bring you a mic. Okay. All right, thank you all. During coffee time or in the Zoom breakout room, I hope you will ask someone you don't know to read you their sin cane, or maybe somebody you do know. And now for the blessing. In the days ahead, may we pause to consider the everyday objects in our lives. Let us appreciate the stories behind them. Let us recognize how an ordinary object reflects the connections among us and around us and all around the world. May we celebrate the everyday miracles in which we live and move and have our being. So may it be, blessed be, and amen.
In finding the significance of the small and the things at our center, we sing what really matters. What really matters in your heart? What really matters to your heart? For the things of the world define you not. What really matters to your heart, in your soul? What really matters in your soul? What really matters in your soul? For the things of the world define you not. What really matters in your soul? How do you treat the ones you love? How do you treat the ones you love? For that's what matters at the end of the day. How do you treat the ones you love? Your precious heart. How do you treat your precious heart? How do you treat your precious heart? For that's what matters at the end of the day. How do you treat your precious heart? Feel your gratitude. How do you feel your gratitude? How do you feel your gratitude? For that's what matters at the end of the day. How do you feel your gratitude? What really matters to your heart? What really matters to your heart? For the things of the world define you not. What really matters to your heart?
As we extinguish our flame, please join me in our closing words. We extinguish this flame, but carry the light, love, and commitment of this gathering into the days to come.
I invite you to reach out to one another, reach out to us. We're reaching out to you at home, and hope you're reaching back. May you depart in peace and be led forth in joy. Please repeat after me one phrase at a time. May faith in the spirit of life.
May faith in the spirit of life.
Hope for the community of earth.
Hope for the community of earth.
And love of the sacred in ourselves and one another.
And love of the sacred in ourselves and one another.
Be ours now and in all the days to come.